Okay, good morning, class.
Morning, sir.
We have a question given to us on the board. The question says the position of 2 points J and K are 10 degrees south, that is latitude 10 degrees south and longitude 15 degree west. And the second point is 45 degree, that is latitude 45 degrees south and longitude 15 degree west. Respectively, we are asked to find their distance apart, taking pi to be 22/7 and the radius of the earth, which is 6,400 kilometer. Now, we know for us to be able to do this, the easiest way we can have to do this is to, sketch down. So let's assume we have this sketch. Let's say this is the center of the earth. We have our imaginary line running from this side, where we call this place north and we call this place south. Then we have this line running here, and we have here our west. We also have here our east. Then we have the center, which is the origin as what? As O. So we need to take down our equator, which is this. And we need to bring down the Greenwich meridian, which is what? Which is this. Now, after we are done with this, the next thing for us to be able to understand this. In the question, they set the first point, which is J. We are having it as latitude 10 degree what? South. Now we need to ask ourselves, where do we have the 10 degrees south? It should lie within this range. So let's take this place to be this. So this is our latitude 10 degrees. So which means we need to call this place 10 degree what? South. Then after we are done, the next one is 15 degree what? West. So since it is 15 degree west, we know that our longitude works towards this direction. So which means we have to get our longitude from this direction to this. So, and this one, we are going to call it 15 degree what? West. Now, after we are done, what is the next procedure? The next procedure is to come to the second point. But before we come to the second point, where is this and this meeting? This is meeting at this particular point here. So we need to place the point, and we are going to call this J. Now, after we are done, we come to the next point here. The next point, which is that of the K, is 45 degrees south. So 45 degrees south, if this is 10 degrees south, which means 45 degrees will lie within this range. So we'll still bring this down. So this comes here. So, and this, we are going to call this 45 degrees. So this is 45 degrees south. Now, after we have gotten this, you now tend to realize that the longitude is still lying on the same degree, which is what? 15 degree. And we already have this as our what? 15 degree. So where does the point meet? This is where the point meets. So we call here our what? K. Now, after we are done, we are asked to find the distance apart. For you to take the distance apart, we need to remember that the point on the center of the earth to any point on the circumference of the earth is the same thing as what? As your R. And the value of our R is given to us as 6,400 kilometer or 6,300 what? Kilometer. So which means we need to draw a straight line here meeting this. We still draw another straight line from the center meeting what? This. Now the distance between this arc is what is going to give you the distance between the 2 points on the what? On the earth. So if that should be the case, looking at this respectively, you tend to realize that these two angles lies on the same quadrant. And I told you that if the angle lies on the same quadrant, how do you find the angular, what do we call it? The angular latitude. For you to find the angular latitude, you have to what? Subtract, right? So in that case, which means to get the angular latitude here, we need to remember that this arc, JK, that is what we are looking for. And to find the length of this arc JK, we know that it is given as what? As theta all over 336 what? Degree, which is what? 2 pi r. So if we understood this, how do we get this angle? To get this angle, like I said, we find the difference between this and what? This. And the difference between this and this is going to be 45. 45 degrees south minus 10 degree what? South. So, and when we do this minus this, we are going to have what? We are going to have it to what? 35 degree, which means the value of our theta is what? Is 35 degree. Now, after we are done, we just need to go into the question and substitute and get our what? Answer. So now, what is going to be the next? The next, for us to say theta, we are going to substitute theta by 35. So this is going to be 35 over what? 360, right? We have this as times 2. Then the value of pi is given to us in the question, which is 22 over 7. So we just need to say 22 over what? 7 times. We know that since we are calculating r, now when we say r, this small r, you need to remember that when you come from the center of the earth to the, what do we call it, to the mini circle, this center here, or let's say from here to here, gives you the value of the r. So if here gives you the value of the r, it means that the distance from here to here will still be the same value. And we already have that value as what? As 6,400. So which means since we are dealing with the bigger radius, we are not going to call it small r, but rather it is going to be what? Capital R. So which means we are going to substitute this by what? By 6,400. Then we make this a fraction, we call it over what? 1. So punch into your calculator, 35 divided by 360. What are we going to have?
0.0972.
0. What? 0.0972 what? 72. Then times, now multiply 2 by 22 by 6,400. Multiply 2 by 22 by 6,400. What are we going to get? Are you sure 400? Multiply 2 by 22 by 6,400. You are going to get what? 281600. Then we have this, so which means we are going to be dividing it by this. Are you sure this is the actual value you have?
Yes.
Okay, so if we have gotten this now, the same procedure, multiply all of this. Multiply all of this by this.
Is 27.
27
3
3 7 1.52. So we have multiplied this by this, right? So which means it's time for us to divide it by what? By 7. So divide this by 7, let's see.
It's going to be
3910.221.7. So which means we are going to approximate this to 3910.22. So this is, and remember we are asked to calculate the distance apart, so which means it is going to be in what? In kilometer. So which means when you do this, you have calculated the distance between these 2 points, and that is how it goes. So thank you.